So I thought, you know what would be really great? It's much easier to share my faith one-on-one. I mean, evangelization and discipleship happen one-on-one, really, one person at a time. And so I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could just talk to one person instead of 1,000? So what I've decided to do is I'm going to ask somebody, you, in the short hair right here. Yes, you with the, yeah, you, yeah. Could you please come up here?
So what are you doing here today?
You know, I think I was meant to meet you, Melissa.
I think it was time. There's nothing better for a Virgo than to stand on a stage.
There you go. I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
It means I'm horrified.
Very good, very good. I never left my faith, but I can tell you, and like Sue and like so many other people, probably everybody, I was living for something other than God. Now, he seemed very important, and any of my friends in high school and college would have said, Pat, you're religious. You're a good guy. But they're grading on a curve, you know, I mean. But I stayed into my faith, but I was really living for achievement. That's what it was. I mean, since I was a kid, it was like every sport I was in, and getting good grades, and then going to high school and getting good grades, and wanting to go to a good college, and getting into a good college, and then getting a great job, and then marrying a wonderful woman, and having kids, and then doing well in my career, and getting notoriety for what I did. It was all just one, like, addiction. I decided, Melissa, that if I ever wrote a book about my life, it would be called Confessions of an Achievement Addict, because I really think that's what I was. And this achievement thing was not working anymore. You know what addiction is? You need more and more of something to get less and less. And I was out. So God stripped those away, and over the course of a few years, brought me completely to my knees. It was horrible and wonderful. And that's when he helped me try to start rebuilding in him. I was at Radio City Music Hall giving a speech to a big group of people at a leadership conference, and there were presidents of the United States who were speaking on the same docket and everything, and I was doing my speech, and I got a lot of applause, and everybody seemed really happy, and I walked off stage, and I was catatonic. I was so empty, and I just stumbled right out the door backstage onto the streets of New York, stumbled down to St. Patrick's Cathedral, and just knelt down and cried. And I said, I'm out. I've got nothing. And that's the beauty of what God does. He will take away all of those things that we thought we were living for that don't satisfy, and he will bring us to our knees, and that's how we get to know him. So that happened to me. And it was beautiful and painful, and so that was kind of how I had my own conversion or reversion. This idea we have, even around our faith, it's like a Silicon Valley breakfast, there's 1,000 people, okay, what are we gonna do to organize them? It's up to us. You know, that's how we are. I'm gonna fix it. And it doesn't work that way. There's this thing that we grew up with, like it's up to us, we can do it on our own, and even when it comes to our faith, sometimes we think it's this project that we're gonna win. And if we surrender to God and say, your will be done, not mine, that I find is key where I'm at today. Your will be done, not mine. The other thing I'm finding is that everything I do is supposed to be ministry. You know, I didn't go to seminary. And so I used to think vocations meant people that chose seminary and chose a life of ministry. And I'm starting to realize we're all called to be ministers in everything we do in our lives. And whether it's me up here giving a speech, and especially like to a secular audience, how do I show up there for them? Or writing a book, or just going to a meeting, or talking to one of my employees, or talking to my wife or my kids, or their friends that come over our house. Everything is part of our ministry. So what I've kind of come to realize is that I am a minister, and we all are, because suffering is the cross by which we come to Jesus. And it's what helps us let go of these worldly things that we hold on to that never last. And so what I feel like right now is I want to be completely focused on eternal things so that everything I do here is in that perspective. When Jesus says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light, here's what I found. It is so hard to be a follower of Jesus, except everything else is so much harder. And that yoke we put more weight on our own yokes when we try to figure it out on our own. And when we just release and surrender to God and say, I give up, that yoke is easy and that burden is light and the joy is great, both here and forever.